What is goody, everybody? So, lately, there's a really big trade rumor about what a lot of people in the Clippers community are trying to push for because, like, the Clippers are not new to, the supposed trade for a third star rumor or something like that. So, and lately, it has been Kyrie Irving. So, essentially, supposedly Kyrie Irving, he's kind of dissatisfied with the Nets GM or something like that. So there's a lot of rumors that he probably would want out. Now, me personally, um, I'm not too big on trading for like a third star or something like that. Like I'd prefer just to keep the team around, maybe just do some tiny retoolings, but definitely, let's not even think about trading the young guys like Jay Scrubber and Brandon Boston Jr. or Terrence Mann for Kyrie Irving. So let's get that straightened out first. But in this video, I'm gonna show everybody on how the Clippers could essentially get Kyrie Irving without, doing no weak, sorry ass sign and trade stuff. So basically, like we could just like basically like how we could make room for enough money to sign Kyrie Irving eventually. But at the same time, though, like you can still like have a lot of stuff because you don't do no sign and trade, but instead we just trade some our key rotational piece to get some draft assets because my bad. Like essentially, almost all of our players have a significant amount of trade values, and definitely, like if they have a lot of trade values, why bother doing like a sign and trade while you could get Kyrie just for to sign him and you get some draft capital rather than be stuck in a purgatory by trading your a lot of your depth and your draft pick just to get Kyrie Irving when Kyrie Irving would have probably left like either way. Like it's like a Carmelo Anthony trade to the Knicks. So these are like the two players that the Clippers could consider like moving in order to make room to get Kyrie Irving, but at the same time, it would not harm the Clippers long term to like a certain extent. Of course, like one player is gonna will definitely be good for a little while, but anyways, let's get into a hypothetical trade. So first trade, so Marcus Morris has been rumored in a lot of these trades rumors. So this is what and this is what I always like pushed for. Like if we do trade Marcus Morris, is I would trade Marcus Morris for a first round pick for this year because there's a lot of like power forwards and center in a draft that definitely could bring a lot of impact for the Los Angeles Clippers. Like a lot of these prospects that I kind of like did a little scouting on, and I've yet to. My bad again, but but yeah, I have like yet to um, like scout some more prospects. So if there's any particular prospects that you may be interested, just be sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll consider kind of scouting them, or I'll just give my honest evaluation on should we take the person. But anyways, let's just get into this trade. So this trade will be Marcus Morris trading Marcus Morris to the Milwaukee Bucks for the 24th pick. So so like I said, this could definitely get us a really young power forward that could help us like in the current term or the long term essentially. So and the Bucks would definitely do this because they could use a guy who could like score the ball real good because you saw how the Milwaukee Bucks played against like I believe the Celtics. Like they literally could not like hit a three like their life depended on it. So what Marcus Morris could bring is he could be that spark plug that could, make threes every other games. Of course, he has a lot of swing factors, but he brings that beautiful juice that the Milwaukee Bucks could use. And then they just eventually have to trade some players like George Hill and Grayson Allen, which is, I mean, I'll admit I don't watch too much of the Milwaukee Bucks ball, so I don't know how high that will be necessarily be on Grayson Allen, because, I mean, I'll admit I don't really follow the Bucks too much, and I don't really know exactly how much they value Grayson Allen, but, I mean, Marcus Morris definitely brings in the juice for the Bucks. So basically, just these two guys to kind of like dump the room to make room for Marcus Morris and dump him to the Pistons, or just send them some picks as like the picks to as a team that could just take all the heavy cap space. Like the Bucks could just send anybody that they do not desire, just send them to like a third team. So this could definitely be a win-win trade because, the Clippers clear cap room to get Kyrie Irving, and they get a pretty good power forward that would help us in the long term. Or Jaden Hardy, a point guard who was very deadly in high school but had a rough G League moment, but I believe he's going to be a pretty good player. But if the Clippers do get Jaden Hardy with this pick, say less. Just say less. Because imagine Jaden Hardy being mentored by PG, Kawhi, and let's just hypothetically Kyrie Irving if he signs with the Clippers. Now, this would not solve this solution completely on how to get Kyrie Irving because it's not just going to completely clear all the cap space because unfortunately you do need to trade another player to officially clear the cap space. And let's just say the Bucks they don't do this, and then I have like a backup plan. So this is the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat they have a decent amount of reasons to do this as well too. Probably because Marcus and Markieff are brothers, and Marcus kind of fits the win now mode for the Miami Heat. Like again, he's you cannot go wrong with having Marcus Morris on a contending team, and plus their power forward starting right now for the Heat is like PJ Tucker, and that's like essentially it. So if PJ Tucker decides to like, kind of like leave the league early, Marcus Morris could be a really great replacement because he brings that offensive juice for the Miami Heat, and the Clippers get a draft pick, and again, like I said, just like earlier, so like a good power forward that could help the Clippers either right now or long term. Like it's a little lower, so but it's still going to be a decent amount of like solid prospects that would help the Clippers a lot. And the Heat just dump Duncan Robinson away to the Pistons because again, it's one of those like pretty like struggling team that doesn't have much of the cap space, of course, because they're struggling, and so just send them there. And they just send them like a draft pick, and we send them our 2024 like second round pick, and the Clippers get the 27th pick. So another, this could be an option on how to ship Marcus Morris if you want to get like a good return. So yeah, basically this is step one. So you could either do one of these two scenarios. Honestly, another scenario is you could trade Marcus Morris to the Nets or like the Bulls maybe, but like I didn't have like enough had enough time to make a trade scenario for that, or I'll be honest, I just essentially didn't even think about it until like just literally right now. So now let's just officially get to the final step. And then the final step, and this is probably going to be like a hard pill to swallow for a lot of Clippers fans, but like so essentially this is like the whole entire Clippers team in general and how the cap space works. So Kyrie Irving, like at least he would at least want like a cool like $30 million. So out of all these guys, definitely you're definitely not gonna trade Paul George because Paul George we all know how Paul George is, and Kawhi. I don't need to say anything about that. Norman Powell, like he's a new addition, and he's more like a safer player for the Clippers because he plays great defense and he's really efficient at getting buckets, and he's also a really good shot creator too. He could slash, score at all forms, like mid range and shoot some threes. And the defensive end is pretty good. So you're pretty much left with like two options, and it's Marcus Morris and Luke Kennard. Robert Covington, like you're not going to get as much of the value, and it will hurt the Clippers a lot because Marcus Morris. I mean, Robert Covington, he's like the ultimate spark plug for the Clippers because he plays that defense and he's a great rebounder. Reggie Jackson, he's essentially the Clippers locker room, so uh, yeah, I don't think I need to say too much on that. And plus, you're not going to get the desired value because, like, I mean, I guess teams could maybe be willing to give a good amount of money, good amount of assets for Reggie Jackson, but like not as much as a guy like Luke Kennard or like maybe like a Marcus Morris or like maybe Reggie Jackson. You probably gonna get the same amount of trade value for him, but Reggie Jackson is kind of like he's our like franchise, not necessarily a franchise player, but kind of like our market. Like think of how the Big Mac is for McDonald's. That's how Reggie Jackson is kind of like for the Clippers. So I wouldn't really recommend like really moving on to Reggie Jackson so easily. I mean, he's just pretty impactful for the Clippers. So, anyways, let's get to step two to officially make room for Kyrie Irving. So the second step is trade Luke Kennard to the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings, they would kill to get a really great shooter because I've been seeing the Kings like a decent amount of times, like especially when the Clippers played the Kings, and boy, they could not shoot for goodness. And boy, if they hear Luke Kennard option, oh yeah, they're gonna spaz to get that because now they got De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, so now they're trying to like kind of like shake things up and try to like get further exposure. And Luke Kennard, he could be a great piece for the Sacramento Kings. Now, who we get returned is a 2023 first round pick and a 2023 second round pick. So basically, this pick is definitely going to be like a pretty solid pick. Like the Kings, like let's just say if they do this trade, the Kings are probably like at best going to be like an eighth seed at best, and then the eighth seed like the Kings being an eighth seed, the Clippers could still get a like a like not necessarily a lottery pick, but like a top 15 pick at least, like or maybe even a lottery pick. Who knows? Like because 2023 like is the year to look out for because there's insane amount of talents. Because like I used to just say, oh, it's the year to get our long-term franchise point guards, but now like Derek Lively has been slipping down, and Derek Lively, he has like if we don't take a point guard, and if we take Derek Lively in 2023, he could also be a pretty good option. But there's just so much of high talented upside players in the 2023 draft class, so this could potentially benefit us long term. And obviously, we have the room to get Kyrie Irving. Now, would I recommend just straight up just doing these two trades? I mean, I'm not gonna give a clear answer on that because I mean, like I'll be cool with it. Like I wouldn't mind because at least if we do these like this procedure rather than just start doing a signing trade, the Clippers will get some good young players. They would have some draft capital. The Clippers are not digging themselves a hole, and then we eventually still, but could potentially get our guy that we would want, and we would benefit in the long term. So, I believe. So yeah, that's how I believe. Like how the Clippers could potentially get a third star if they would want to rather than just doing, the sign and trade. Because sign and trade, nah, it's just not my type of thing. Like, either sign with us or just stay with just go to any other team. Because you know what I'm saying. Like, I do not want to do no sign and trade because I don't want to have like another Carmelo Anthony type toxic toxicity or something like that. I don't know. Literally forgot how the heck to pronounce that because you know how Carmelo was with the Knicks. He was pretty good, but not good enough to make it far because Carmelo just wanted the green paper. Or at least that's what rumors say. I don't want to make any false accusations, but yeah. So another scenario, I guess, for this is it could also give Robert Covington and all the other guys more of the minutes. So yeah, those are like a lot of the benefits that the Clippers could potentially have if they just like make these two types of trade because like you get more draft capital and you eventually like get your third star if you want because like not even like the Nets are willing to pay Kyrie Irving like that much. So there's always a chance that Kyrie Irving can sign with like just like a amount of money that's like in the 20s millions of dollars. Like he can sign with us like a 2-year contract and then just a player option or just a 1-for-1 deal. Or we'll find out what happens. I mean, those are just my suggestions on how we could possibly like get Kyrie Irving without harming us in a long term. Because if they just do these two trades, you definitely could make a lot of room to get a third star in Kyrie Irving. But anyways, just let me know what you think about this little suggestion if you want to get Kyrie Irving. So be sure to leave a comment down below in the comment section. I'll definitely get you on the comment section and just let me know what you think. And as y'all know, have a great night. Peace.